Welcome, everyone. My name is Caesar Williams, and I am the artistic director of the Fire this time. And this is the Fireside Chat. And I am honored to have with us today season 13 playwright Agyeiwaa Asante. Welcome, Agyeiwaa. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I think I mentioned this to you before, but I was just so super excited to have this opportunity to, one, let our viewers get to know you better before you and I to get to know each other better. So I'm going to jump in with a bunch of questions, but it's just going to go wherever it's going to go, and we'll just have fun with it.
Super exciting. Yes,
Yes.
please.
So your play, Wildest Dreams. What I loved about it is that in this moment in time, I think you, in a 10-minute play, in both a very moving, poignant, and funny way, was able to capture this thing I'm feeling as a black person in this country about our history,
Mhm.
about our present, and about our future, and this kind of complex, complicated, torn feeling that I have. And so, just please, how did you come to write Wildest Dreams, or just tell us about the play itself?
So this play was inspired by, I wrote it over 2020, which has been a crazy year for all of us. But especially over the summer and the racial reckoning that our country is constantly going through, but this
Yes.
was the current moment of it. And just, spending a lot of time on the internet, mostly a lot of my play ideas come from spending too much time on social media. So there was like this idea of, how we're reckoning with this moment. And then there's a lot of talking about we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, which I think was a slogan. I don't know who started it, but
Mm,
it became something I saw a lot on t-shirts and something I got really interested in because I think every generation we kind of have our own reckoning with um kind of connecting with our ancestors and with our past and that relationship they have with us. And I think, we love that they are our protectors and our guidance and all these amazing things, but then also remembering that these were people just as we were and that we too one day are going to become ancestors.
wow.
So which is like morbid but exciting to also consider, so like what do both of those things mean and like the humanity of what it is to be an ancestor. And then also at the same time, I think what was the initial spark was I heard these stories about people who were like who got like who had weddings at
Oh,
plantations. You're like, this
plantation
is a thing.
weddings. Yes.
Plantation was like, oh, this is a thing that people are doing, and like the aesthetic, the barn house wedding. They're like, do we did we forget what
Mm-hmm.
went on here? And do we forget the history? And I think that's just something that slowly happens and we don't realize that we slowly normalize these things. So I wanted to put all these things into one play.
Yes.
So I created these two characters um, who are ghosts, who were formerly slaves, who were on this plantation, who were killed after helping their children escape. They are now in the present, have been stuck on this plantation for several decades,
Mm-hmm.
and actually one of their is kind of like this reckoning of how long are we going to be stuck here? When do we get to be free? When do we have our moment? And also what they have had to watch and see us go through and how that is affecting them because they're not just answers to who are they as people and how has that affected them and what have been their hopes for us? What do they want from us? What have we projected onto them and just
Mm.
seeing what the human was of the humanity of these ancestors and what that means.
Yes, yes. So you have two characters. You have Jimmy Dale and Maybelle. And I feel like I can say this. There was definitely something in the air this summer with the submissions we received, and that there were a lot of plays that had this layer or this thread of revolution.
Mm,
Um, and when I think of Jimmy Dale and what he wants and why he kind of refuses to let it go at the end is that he wants a reckoning on another level
yeah.
than what Maybelle wants. And so that seems to also be something that, like, was that something you were conscious of, that you were even open to the option that until we burn this whole thing down, it's not going to be good?
Yeah, I think that's something so many of us go through as kind of like as we grow and as we, depending on where you stand on activism and what you feel like is the vision you have for this country. I think I definitely, you know, going through school, you learn that, and then especially during this year about what I have hopes for. You always want
Mhm.
to, there's always the idea of working within the system. How do you make that function? How do you, trying to change the system from within and then also deciding to run from the ground. So I've been, jumping between the two at times.
And the play is funny at the same time, which is so crazy. Like it's touching all these things, but it's freaking hilarious at the same time.
Thank
So,
you. That's why
congratulations.
I have to. Like the way I handle things and move about the world. I have to laugh, or else what can I do? I think that's always just been my way of handling difficult things or complicated things. That um, not even like laughing through the pain, but I just find humor such a great way to connect with the tough things and to really get
Hmm.
to see them, and also just like seeing the ridiculousness of things sometimes just lets you be like, this is a lot, this is heavy, this is strange, but I like can reckon with it in a different way. And I think laughter is a great way to do that.
Yes, it is. It is. So that leads me to my next question. What other projects or things are you working on currently?
Oh yes. So currently I'm developing a new play, one of my first full length plays called Dainty, which is
Dainty.
yes,
Oh, okay.
all capitals. Thank you, Shiny. But it's kind of like this ensemble piece on Black womanhood and kind of this interrogation of the word of like who has access to femininity. And it's something that I feel
Mm.
like, has been like this prize that, that we've sought out, that as women that we are sought to have, or like this is something that you need to have to be delicate, to be precious, but it's something that Black women specifically have not had access to, or has been limited, or like, because we're strong, or even just through the caricatures we've experienced from the Medea to the Jezebel, that's not something that we have really had. But then also analyzing that, these things are very much deeply entrenched in patriarchy. And is that something that we
Hmm.
actually do want? Is there, what are the curses that come with the gift of fragility and daintiness, and this, especially in terms of like white womanhood, and how we have to always entangle that and how we are made to see ourselves. So it's just kind of like this complexity and like how you deal with wanting something, but also the dangers that come with it as well.
Oh.
So
If you could talk to 12-year-old AJ, what would Agyeiwaa say to her now?
you're figuring it out, and that's okay. Explore all these parts of yourself, even the parts you don't understand, even the parts that you don't think going to carry with you. It's all going to be part of the master plan. Love it and appreciate it. It's okay not to be a doctor. You'll be fine. Love your artistic weird self as you figure it out. And yeah, and soak it all in. Soak up this time being young and exploring yourself and exploring your country. And yeah, just learn to love being young.
Yeah, exactly. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? Like for me, I would be a truck driver.
I would have probably made myself probably do some version of the doctor route. I was really into psychology, so I think
Mm.
being a psychiatrist, because I think it's still a part of like the human condition that I'm really interested in, that made me a playwright. But I like the idea of trying to help people and support people in that kind of way. And I think it's would be a valuable use of the empathy that I have.
Well, thank you so very much
Thank
for
you.
having this fireside chat with me. It has been wonderful to get to know you better, and this is just the beginning. I look forward to sharing information about whatever you're doing throughout the years. We prepare for season 13 and getting hyped and looking forward to getting back into the theater and putting your play up and and all of that. So thank you so much.
Thank
Agyeiwaa,
you.
just thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.